Hey, State Steve, please like and subscribe. Please do not forget to subscribe. I've got to bother you guys until we get to 1,000 subscribers. Let's hope we get there as soon as possible. Let's move on. All right, so this is my KVK teams of destruction. Number three, my third most prioritized team. What I'm really saying is, listen, say if I was on low resources, low speed ups, which I'm not, if I had to just send out just a minimal number, say if I'm really full of beans and think I want to kill everybody, or you know what I mean, I'm just going to do some amazing things. 5 armies, slightly less sure. 4 armies, 3 armies. Well, this is the third army, so number one and two was Huan Yu, Scipion. Number two, Su Liang, Human Prime, and in that situation, in their situation, the third army would be Lui Che. And let's go through him first. Smite damage up to 5 enemy troops, 2,250. And troops hit by this skill lose 40% march speed. Who cares? Expertise. And the reason why he's interesting is because he doesn't do skill damage, okay? So any kind of skill damage reductions, which we've seen as part of the meta, the ongoing meta, doesn't apply to this guy. He's more likely, or extremely likely, to do 2,250 damage. And the only commander that comes to mind which takes away that damage is Alexander. And he's out of the meta for most people. You know what I mean, in the late game. So yeah, that's the damage he's going to do. He does area of effect to 5 commanders. That's why he's in my team. And number 3. Expertise. When this commander launches a basic attack whilst on the map, it has a 25% chance to launch an extra basic attack. Okay, extra basic. I was just reading the extra now. Extra basic attacks do not trigger counterattack. Up to 1 basic attack can be launched per second. So that's very explicit that there's no cooldown. So all is good. All is good. Okay, so who will I pair up with Lui Che? Well, most videos are talking about Alex. I've said too many videos. I said it earlier. Alex is like driving the nicest car in the world in neutral. It doesn't add anything. I accept. Well, no, he does. I accept that he resists the debuff. No active skill damage. No, was it smite damage? No skill damage. It's just attack and defense. It's just yawn. Oh my gosh. But up to three nearby enemy troops take 30% more damage for 4 seconds. That is significant. But if I was going to run with Alex, ironically, I wouldn't put it in a. Well, I just wouldn't do it. But I'd have it in a specific debuff team, right? So he's debuffing, or he's making. Yeah, he's not taking away their skill damage, but they incur more skill damage. They being the enemy, you know what I mean? So if I had a team specifically for debuffing, in that sense, then I'll put him in that. But this is not for me. Thinking straight lines, it's just not that for me. It's not awful to be with Lui Che, but nah, I don't believe in driving a fast car in neutral. No. So long story short, I've spoken about this in other videos. I'd have Constantine. Constantine's controversial choice. He just makes him tanky. I just want him to last it out. I want that bonus in the museums, 5% more damage. When they upgrade the museum, that's going to be an extra 10% damage. I mean, active skill damage. And it's got the debuff on everybody else to support them in battle, which means, my hospital will be slightly lower. My damage stats upon them are going to be more. So I like it. But most of all, and when we get below 50%, singing a song, when we get below 50% of troops, it recovers, it has a 15,000 healing factor on slightly wounded units, which just keeps us in the battle, you know what I mean? So that's that. I mean, the benefit of having Alex is that march speed as well, and I hate march speed. What I'm thinking is, and this isn't the mentality, and I can't believe I'm even mentioning it, is like if you need to get out of battle, then you... In fact, I'm going to take it back. The reason why I'm going to take it back is because infantry is slow, and what I was thinking is if your troops get really low, you got a better chance of running to somebody's city or walking into the pass. But I believe the way that the formula goes is, if you run, you die. There's something about it that you just do less damage or you incur more damage. I'm convinced. In my own mind. Anyway, Lui Che and Constantine for me. I do want to go back to my Guan Yu pairing. There's something I missed. I would probably... when it opens on day one, I'm quite happy with having about 75 T5 and the rest T4. Keeps the hospital down, and that's enough. It's enough, you know what I mean? If it's a very important battle, yeah, roll out with all T5. I ain't doing it on day one, though. It might even be all T4, and that's absolutely fine, but I might just throw in some T5, just to add a tinge of, covering all bases. For my Zhujiang, I'll probably do the same, 75 T5 and the rest T4, just with the hospital cost consideration. Zhujiang. I don't know if I'm going to sing that again. Exactly the same formula, 75 T5, the rest P4. All right, so where are we at? 6 minutes. Okay, my fourth army is Trajan. I did one of those kind of almost like a reveal kind of video on Trajan, just saying how incredibly useful he is. Just a buff. Okay, so for the next 5 nearby allied or friendly troops, deal 30% more skill damage and gain an extra 50 rage. That is mainly it. But yeah, we do take, I got to acknowledge, we do take 25% more skill damage. More damage in general. I'm going to cut right to the end of the video, end of this little segment, in as much as for that reason, the only reason why it's there is to buff and debuff. I don't want to, they're not going to do any kind of real meaningful skill damage. I'm going to roll with 100 T4 and the rest are going to be T3. That's it. At most I'd have all T4, but I know already I'm going to go into battle so many times and incur all those massive hospital costs for somebody that's not doing any damage, and I'll get bored. I was just thinking, no way. But if they're T4 and mostly T3, even if it's 50-50, then that's the what I'm going to rock with. Anyway, Trajan. And the second skill's got this 20% health bonus. It does make us a bit more tanky despite that. And we got the 20% defense despite this taking 25% more damage, which is significant. Wow. Unit capacity is not going to matter in the sense that it's only there to do the debuff. This direct damage is only token. Increases the damage its current target receives by 20%. With the area of effect damage that I'm going to have from more or less everybody else, aka Juan, Zhujiang, and Lui Che armies. That's all good. And it'll all be pointed at the same target anyway. So the primary damage will be done to that one person, and it will be increased by 20%, depending on what caps ROK, Rise of Kingdoms, have put in their mystery battle formula. And I said I wasn't going to go through the passive skills, but I just thought it was useful given that I've chosen Trajan. And this is just basically a defense bonus. And the expertise, which is basically more or less what I said. But to back him up, just like in my Canyon army, I'm going to controversially go with Mulan, remembering that troops combination I'm going to have of T4 and mostly T3. It's just there to buff. So with her active skill, 5 nearby allied or friendly troops gain the 20% attack, defense, and health. March speed. And these are the ones that are going into battle. Remember that. In KVK in 2 days' time. And this is obviously what I'm kind of implicitly recommending that you guys do too. Can you imagine? Anyway, so when surrounded, we take 5% less damage. Okay, well, this army does, which makes it obviously more tanky. When we hit with a basic attack, it has a 20% chance to reduce the attacker's rage by 100. Bearing in mind, most thresholds, well, all thresholds are 1000, where they give and take, you have like bonuses in between, you know, Joan Prime, etc. So yeah, we'll take that. Don't worry about experience. We gain 20% attack. It's always going to be the secondary commander. When this commander uses an active skill, when as secondary, it increases the target's damage received by 20% for a whole for 3 seconds with a cooldown of 5. There you go. Very similar to what we was talking about with Constantine. All is good, and this is what we got in expertise, which we already talked about. I'm just going to touch on that 5th army. I don't know how many people out there are going to be rocking with 5 armies. My 5th army is kind of like, I'd have to be in a really good mood to do it. Really good mood. I'd probably just either rock with the first 3. I don't mind rocking with the 4. Obviously, if I'm talking about T4 and T3, it's only going to help and be at minimal cost. The 5th army for me is the placeholder, Sargon. Sargon the Great. I don't want to go into it too much. It's pointless me going into it. I just said it's a placeholder. It's only there because, well, there are advantages to it, and it's only because he's marginally above threshold, so I'm not even going to go into it too much. And to add to that, I'd probably pair him up with Alexander the Great. The most I would pair, the most in terms of troops, it's going to be T4. T4 is, if you had area of effect, if either of them had area of effect, then maybe. And on the spot, I'm going to say maybe even half T4, half T3. They're there as kind of mainly deep. He's there. So Alexander's just mainly for that active skill and to make them take 30% more damage for the time that they're living. They might be put off by hitting Sargon until last, just because he's not area of effect. You know what I mean? But still useful. It does have this odd effect. It gets a bit complicated the way it's calculated, but targets take more damage. But he's a placeholder, so I don't want this video to be ridiculously long. Those are my 5 armies. Hope you find it very useful. You got the combination of the commander skills that I said at the beginning. You got the civilization. You got the talent trees. This is my Sargon talent tree. Look upon it in its splendor. I don't want the video to be crazy long, so I'm not going to go into that. The other talent tree, which I didn't show, which is what is on his video that I did highlighting him as a commander, is this one. And I do believe I have covered most things. The only thing I'm kind of half tempted is to go through the equipment of these guys, but I didn't over-invest. I got the revival set for Zhu Liang in Archers. I'm very keen on having these as the baseline, really. So you know, more 50%, 10% chance to gain 50% bonus to damage, and the rage boost accessory. Even the same for Lui Che. I think there's some grayness about whether this damage is skill damage or includes the smite damage. It just says damage, so I would assume both. But again, that rage booster as well. Okay, yeah. And a lot of blue. I did talk about the Gatekeeper's Shield in other videos. And I also talked about, well, not Calvin's Hand, but I did talk about the Windswept set. But I haven't gone all out, obviously, on this one. And it got a few kind of leftover legendary equipment that I've had on other commanders from time to time. Guess which one? Eternal Empire. Eternal Empire. Maybe before it was right here. But as I mentioned, these ones boost attack and even more attack, and I just wanted to boost the defense. I don't know if it's necessary for me to talk too much about Sargon, but the one interesting addition is that he's got the concealed dagger, which reduces health. I bought this, probably the first bit of accessory that I bought, probably more likely to go with the damage increase. The other difference is with Trajan. Yeah, I got this. I've not over invested, as I said. I've invested in that first primary commander. Above all, the other ones have some token equipment, windswept set. But the one interesting thing is this piece, which I just bought along the way, and I'm not saying that I recommend it. And the only reason why I'm saying that is because I'm not sure if they cap the amount of rage that anybody can get. But it's got this 10% chance to grant 50 extra rage to the wearer and up to 2 nearby allied troops with a cooldown of 3 seconds. But it's a 10% chance that it will, 90% chance that it won't. If I wasn't so heavily invested in trying to upgrade Huan Yu, and very soon I'll take this one from iconic attribute 1 to attribute 2, then I probably would have invested more in Trajan, who knows, and try to get this to be either the rage boost and some other kind of otherwise support kind of accessory. Who knows? We will see in due course. Anyway, sorry for the long video. Please like, subscribe. Please do subscribe. And I will also, I'm going to do the damage in the KVK in 2 days. I'm looking forward to that video, and I'll see you then. That is Stephen, I'm out.